Yo, people, what's up? This is Malcolm Extreme, the content machine, coming at you with another reaction video. Today it's going to be another good enough video, the deadliest mountains in the world. So we're going to get ready to react to it. But before we do, make sure you hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, hit the bell for more notifications. From the content machine, Malcolm Extreme. Let's get started.
And slowly work our way towards the ones that are pretty much a death sentence. Number 5, Mount Everest. Well,
Who could have guessed?
This one at the top of the list. Mount Everest is one of the deadliest
crazy
mountains on Earth.
You guys actually like imagine climbing one of these mountains in real life? I wonder if there's any mountain climbers out there in the audience. Please tell me.
Claiming the lives of over 340 people.
Dang, that's a lot of people.
Everest is on your bucket list. You might as well delete it now. Not because you lack the discipline or the endurance, even though both are true, but because the mountain is exclusively for the rich. Since climbing the mountain
really
costs you anywhere from 30 to 100 and
Dude, I didn't even know that. I thought like people who are experienced mountain climbers can just like go there at their own risk and try to climb the mountain. But then again, I guess it makes sense that there would be like some sort of price or fee to go there, because like if anyone could do it, like anyone would be trying to do it, and then like you'd have just a pile of dead bodies on the mountain, right?
And $60,000. Now, of course, everyone who makes it back alive says that the high price tag is worth it.
Is it though?
Guarantees that you will always have something to talk about at cocktail parties.
I guess so. The bragging rights, right?
Maybe made the climb once or twice in his life. While the more expensive packages will get you a Sherpa that has been making the climb since he could walk, and is strong enough to hike you out on his back if it.
You know, I don't think I've ever actually seen a documentary where there's like the Sherpa. I never really seen a documentary where the Sherpa is interviewed or anything like that, because I've seen like a couple of documentaries about Everest.
Comes down to it. But let's talk about what makes Mount Everest so deadly, starting with the dangers that you will encounter the moment you arrive. You can fall off the mountain, fall through the mountain, become the mountain, and the all-time classic, the mountain falls on you. If you're lucky enough to make it to the first base camp.
That's one of my many fears, is falling into those little ice trenches, man, because they go like so far down and like you can see nothing, man. You just be lost forever.
Well, you better get comfortable, since you will be spending the next 2 to 3 months there. And with no Wi-Fi or electronics, you will be going life and death with boredom.
It'd be absolutely life and death.
Altitude change, a necessary step to lower your odds of getting altitude sickness. But after a couple of months, it's finally time to begin your journey. As you work your way from Camp 1 to Camp 2, 3, and finally 4, you will face an entirely different set of dangers. You see, the entire time you've been worried about the mountain trying to kill you, but the thing that can end up taking you out is yourself.
Exactly.
It's very common for climbers to develop cerebral edema, a condition where the brain swells due to low amounts of oxygen.
Yo, then that happens. I believe that happens underwater too, or you get like nitrogen narcosis. I'm not sure if that's like the same thing or if it's similar.
Which can quickly turn deadly. Then there's high altitude pulmonary edema, which is a condition where the blood vessels in the lungs constrict, leading to fluid buildup. And
that'd be crazy.
Can quickly become a death sentence. But let's just say you're one of the lucky few who make it to Camp 4 healthy.
Roasting a foot on the fire.
You're gonna need that energy for the final push to the summit, which
also
happens to be the deadliest portion of the entire mountain.
It's not just going up the mountain. I heard like when you scale up the mountain, or I've seen when people scale up the mountain, they actually see like the remnants of dead people up there that were trying to climb the mountain.
And it's where the majority of
that's like the mental toll.
Push your body to its absolute limit. You will struggle to catch your breath through your oxygen mask. Soon, your lungs begin to scream in agonizing pain as they feel like they're on fire. With your legs, hips, and back.
The human body isn't supposed to be doing any of this shit.
You just continue to tell yourself, one more step.
One more step.
Knowing that all suffering must eventually come to an end. And what felt like an eternity later, you finally reach the moment you have dreamed.
I think the one thing he forgot to mention was like frostbite. Like you definitely get frostbite. That could affect your chances of survival as well.
Dreamed of and worked so hard for. You have successfully made it to the back of the line, where you will have to wait for hours and hours to get what you came for. Which, of course, was always a picture you could use for your social media profiles. Number 4. Kanchenjunga. The danger
Man.
quickly takes a massive jump from our last entry. Located on the border of Nepal and India lies the third tallest mountain on Earth, Kanchenjunga. The mountain has a
I've never heard of this mountain.
fatality rate and has
I actually never heard of this mountain.
312 people. Now, you're probably wondering, why on earth would anyone choose to climb a smaller and way more dangerous mountain than Everest? Well, it's obvious, since in the very rare case that you meet someone who has climbed Everest, you'll be able to say, "Psh, that's it," and walk away. Now, before we talk about what makes this mountain so deadly, let's first cover all the benefits of choosing this mountain over Everest. It's cheaper. And now that we've covered all of the benefits, let's talk about all of the negatives and what makes it incredible.
That's probably why there's more people that go up there, and there's probably more people that die, because it's cheaper. So the line is funneling in.
Now, of course, you will be facing all of the dangers that come with climbing.
Oh, look, Art the Clown, right? That's Art the Clown.
Brain swelling, blindness,
Terrifier,
everything in between. But the dangers that are specific to this mountain are its truly challenging climbing sections that require actual skill. Unlike Everest, there are no ladders to help you cross over deep crevasses. So you either have to create new alternate routes or have previously competed in the long jump. There also aren't hundreds of climbers that you can follow to its peak, since you and your crew will more than likely be the only ones on the entire mountain.
Wow.
Now, at first, you might think this sounds like a benefit, since you won't have to deal with the long line at the peak.
You know, I never realized there was a line at the peak of Everest. I actually never realized that, because like it was so dangerous. I just thought like a handful of people would go at a time, you know, like a handful of people would go at a time, and there wouldn't even be that many people towards the summit.
But think again. This also means that in an emergency, it would be highly unlikely that you would ever receive any outside help. Thanks to the mountain's extremely remote location. But perhaps the most terrifying thing about this mountain is its severe weather changes that come without warning. Heavy rainfall, wind, and snow can show up within minutes and can quickly turn deadly.
Absolutely. I don't know, maybe there'd be thunder and lightning too. I don't know how often storms occur around mountains. But like, I remember seeing this one video of some hikers like around the mountain, and like their hair started like frizzing up because there was about to be like a lightning storm.
And even if
it's kind of cool, but kind of scary.
You still wouldn't be allowed to step foot on its summit, since the mountain is considered sacred by the locals. Doing so would not only be extremely disrespectful, but would also guarantee you a solo descent to the bottom.
Wow.
Number 3. Nanga Parbat. Nanga Parbat, better known as the Killer Mountain, is located deep in the mountains of Pakistan. It is the 9th highest mountain on Earth, with a whopping fatality rate of around 22%. Now,
that's actually kind of nuts.
The mountain looks pathetic, and even looks like a mountain you could climb with a good night's sleep. But boy, would you be wrong.
You know how people like underestimate things like that, like climbing a mountain? Like, oh man, I could do that. And then when you finally get there, it's like the hardest task in the world.
The mountain has only been successfully summited by 261 people and has claimed the lives of 62, many of whose bodies remain on the mountain to this day. Some lay deep in crevasses, while others remain on the side of the trail. Like on many of the tall mountains, removing and carrying the bodies down is just too dangerous, and they will more than likely remain on the mountain.
That dude is just a straight up iceberg, bro. He's just a straight up iceberg. Cryo sleep.
What makes this mountain so deadly compared to the others on the list? Not only are you dealing with all the previous dangers that come with climbing tall mountains, but now you must face one of the most challenging and exhausting climbs on Earth. Here, all of the skills you have learned at your local indoor rock climbing gym will be tested, since the mountain is home to the Rupal face, the deadliest and highest mountain face in the world.
Wow.
It spans over 15,000 feet, with an average slope of 50 degrees.
Yeah, I could never get into that, like rock climbing and stuff. Like, I don't know how people do it. I saw this one documentary on Free Solos. I forgot the dude's name, but he would climb with like his bare hands and his bare feet. And he wouldn't use a safety, like a safety harness. I'm pretty sure that's what it was. He wouldn't use like any safety gear. He would just free climbing pretty much.
But for hypothetical sake, let's just say you managed to make it up the face. Well, sorry to break it to you, but you would still have another 4 to 6 days of climbing before you reach the summit. And once you snap your little picture and the excitement and euphoria slowly wear off,
oh look, Goku!
Haunting realization.
Goku is in the top right. Oh, he's still there.
Number 2, K2. Again, we take another jump in.
Dude, that's one thing I like about Good Enough. He has all these little Easter eggs in his photos. I probably missed some too.
K2 is located in Pakistan and is the second highest mountain on Earth, only behind Mount Everest. There have only been 377 climbers who have reached its summit, with the mountain claiming the lives of 96 climbers.
Still not as much as Mount Everest though, right? But I think it's because like so many people don't really hear about these other mountains that they kind of go like past the radar. They're not on anyone's radar.
Enormous 26% fatality rate. But let's get into it and talk about what makes this mountain so deadly and different from the rest of the 8,000 plus meter mountains. It all comes down to this terrifying section called the bottleneck.
The bottleneck.
That doesn't sound scary enough. Well, maybe the
that sounds like something in like an underwater cave, like a channel in an underwater cave called the bottleneck that people die in, bro.
Mummies and skeletons around the site will make you reconsider. Now, of course, this would also be a great time to check your equipment before attempting the deadly section, since this is one of the rare opportunities where you will have the chance to upgrade your gear. To see just how deadly this section can be, we just have to take a look at an incident that occurred in 2008, when 11 climbers lost their lives in an incident due to an ice avalanche. But let's just say you're the lucky few who survived all of the dangers and worked your way past the bottleneck, where you would still have to climb another section called the Summit Peak, which is yet another challenging stretch that will push you to your physical limit.
Crazy. But there's a lot of people up there, though. That's the thing. There's a lot of people up there. There's like a good dozen people right there.
And if you're one of the very few people
counting the cameraman,
you will be rewarded with one of the most beautiful views in the world. But here's the thing. Just because you made it to the top of the mountain doesn't mean
you still got a descent.
The reality is that roughly 80% of deaths actually occur on the descent. When
that's crazy, bro.
Exhausted and not thinking straight. Number 1, Annapurna. Deep in Nepal's mountain range sits the deadliest mountain.
You know, the thing is, once you get to the summit, it's not like you could just rest up there. It's not like you could just camp out up there because it's going to be cold as hell. You got to get down.
On Earth. The mountain is only the 10th highest mountain on the planet. Now, I know what you're thinking. The deadliest mountain on Earth sounds like a complete pipsqueak. But don't let its height fool you. This challenge is exclusively for professional climbers. And even one-third of those professional climbers...
These are the professional climbers.
...or at all. Annapurna has an enormous 32% fatality rate. There
have
only been 365 people that have reached the summit, while 72 climbers have lost their lives in the attempt. But let's get...
I wonder, like, is it like 300 people that reach the summit, but how many people die going down?
Right into it and talk about what makes this mountain the deadliest in the world. From the moment you begin your climb out of Camp 1, the mountain will try to kill you. With every step you take, you must remain laser focused, making sure to avoid the hundreds of cracks and gaps in the ice. Which could easily take you on the most unexpected slip and slide. Now, if you make it Camp 2, you will need some much
like I said before, that's one of my worst fears.
Since avalanches hitting campsites are not uncommon from this point on, and occur at much higher rates than any of the other high mountains. But let's just say you're one of the lucky few who managed to get a good night's sleep and begin to make your way to Camp 3. From here on out, the odds of you running into a storm are very high, since hurricane-level winds, blizzards, and storms are very common and come with
all those different elements, man. All those different elements.
You can rest easy knowing that you were completely surrounded by deep crevasses that don't seem to have an end. This is probably where I would just turn around, as it's starting to not seem worth it. But again, if you happen to make it through the night once more, you will now make your way to the final camp, Camp 4, which will require you to climb a vertical wall of snow and ice, and the dangers of ice avalanches coming down on you and your team are very real.
And with like all the winds and like the storms and stuff, I'm pretty sure that contributes to avalanches as well. It's not always like, yo, you just made a loud noise and then the avalanche comes. It could be the other elements too.
They're actually so common that most climbers are pretty much guaranteed to see at least one. But if by some miracle and stroke of luck, all your hard work pays off and you reach the peak, you will finally be rewarded with one of the most beautiful views in the world. So much so that you can almost say the climb was worth it.
Yo, man. Yo, the people who do that is just, I don't know. There's a thin line between bravery and stupidity, bro. But like, some people dedicate their lives to this stuff, man. Some people absolutely dedicate their lives to this stuff, but like, it's worth your life to just reach the peak? I don't know. Let me know what you think, guys. Comment, like, subscribe, hit the bell for more notifications from the content machine, Malcolm Extreme. Let me know if you want more good enough content. If you watch good enough yourself, take it easy.